Today, there is a very interesting and a very most needed topic that EOT approval does not automatically cancel liquidated damages. So many of us think that if an extension of time is given, the liquidated damage automatically cancel. Is that true? That is what we are going to discuss in the entire presentation. If you see the short answer, it is not necessarily. The long answer depends on why the EOT was granted, and at what situation, and what was the time granted, and what is the actual ground it eliminates or protects the contractor from the LD. So let us break it down very clearly and practically. So what is EOT? An extension of time is an additional time granted to the contractor to complete the works beyond the original completion date. So this is only due to excusable delays. That is, the contractor is eligible for time or sometimes cost. So almost under all the standard forms like FIDIC, NEC, JCT, EOT is granted when the delay occurs due to the reasons beyond the contractor's direct control, such as variations, employee delays, approval delays, third-party permit delays, force measures, unenforceable site conditions. So these are the basics of EOT. So what are liquidated damages? The liquidated damages are not penalties, first of all. They are actually pre-estimated losses, and that is discussed between the employer and the contractor at the time of contract award, that the contractor has to compensate this pre-estimated loss to the employer if the delivery is beyond the date. It is basically that employer is an asset owner. He is building an asset. So if the asset gets delayed, that will be it stops the revenue for the employer. So this is how the pre-estimate of liquidated damages is being designed. So most of the contractors will see that it automatically deductible once the delay occurs. For example, once a completion date has been crossed, most employers have an SAP or ERP system that if the contractor gives the bill, it automatically deducts the LD in most cases. So what is the core principle? LD apply only when the contractor delays beyond the valid completion date. If the completion date changes due to the EOT, the LD automatically changes. The trigger of the LD also changes. So the real question becomes, after granting EOT, is the contractor still late compared to the revised completion date? So that is the question. So here are 4 practical scenarios where we can see how the relationship between the EOT and LD really works. Scenario 1. Full EOT covers the entire delay. Okay. The original completion of the project is of 30 June. The contractor delay 20 days and EOT is granted for 20 days. So it might be not just for contractor delays. It was delay occurred and the contractor should have proved that it is not under their control. So EOT is granted for 20 days. The new completion date, now it gets shifted from 30 June to 20 July. Okay, so when did the contractor finish? The contractor finished the entire project on 18 July, 2 days ahead. So what is the result? No delay in the revised date. So no LD. So in this case, LD is completely eliminated. Scenario number 2, partial EOT granted. So there is a delay of 30 days, but the EOT is agreed that the contractor delay is 15 days and employer's delay is 15 days. So the employer accepts to give an EOT of 15 days. Now there are 15 days of contractor responsible delay remaining. So LD automatically applies for this 15 days. So EOT reduces LD exposure, but still does not eliminate it completely. So this is a scenario. Scenario number 3, concurrent delays. If both employer and contractor cause delay during the same period, under most common law approaches, the contractor gets the time. The employer cannot levy LD for the concurrent delays on the contractor, and the contractor cannot claim prolongation cost from the employer. So this is especially debated under the forms like fiduciary books. What is the outcome? It depends heavily on the jurisdiction and how the contract is being drafted with the verdicts. Scenario number 4, EOT granted for non-critical delays. Not necessarily all delays has to be critical. So if EOT is granted for a delay that does not affect the critical path, it seems a bit confusing, right? The completion date will not actually move if the delay doesn't fall on the critical path. So a non-critical delay will never push the final completion date. So LD exposure will always remain the same and there will not be any EOT. So not all EOT approvals eliminate LD. Only those affecting the contractual completion date that meets the critical delay will be excluded from the LD. So what is the legal logic it's behind it? So liquidated damages operate on a simple legal logic. LDs are compensation for failing to meet the contractual completion date. Simple. Once the date shifts due to a valid EOT, the obligation also shifts. So EOT just pushes the trigger of the LD. But LDs are not erased automatically just because an EOT was granted. They appear only to the extent that delay becomes excusable. So what are the important factors has to be considered? So to determine if LDs are eliminated, you must check. So what is the causation? Who caused the delay? Critical path impact? Did the event actually delay the project completion? Whether the notice complaints are on place? Was the EOT submitted properly? What does the contract says? So contracts explicitly state LD shall apply for delay beyond the time for completion as adjusted. So this has to be part of contractual verdicts. What are the common misunderstandings? Once EOT is granted, LDs are cancelled. False. Granting EOT means contractor is not responsible for delay. Not necessarily. It only excuses specific delay events which are not under contractor's control. Employer cannot deduct LD if any EOT is pending. It depends heavily on the contract administration and certification status. And you cannot just answer this very easily. So what are the strategic insights for professionals to handle this with more care? If you are from a contractor side, always demonstrate impact on the critical path. Ensure proper delay analysis methodologies while making the EOT claim. And please make the proper notices strictly. For employers, assess the concurrency carefully, grant only justified EOT, and have a detailed discussion with your PMC or engineer to determine the EOTs. What generally I've seen in the industry is the PMCs also know to make an EOT and they don't know to determine the EOT. There is a gap. There is a total skill difference between drafting an EOT or making an EOT and determining an EOT. So better be cautious in selecting PMCs who have the capacity to determine the EOT. That's how he can separate the excusable delays from the contractor cost delays. Okay. For contract managers, understand the EOT is a time remedy. It's not a cost remedy. LD is a financial remedy. They interact, but one does not automatically cancel the other. So let's come to a final takeaway. So does granting EOT eliminate liquidated damages entirely? Only if the entire delay becomes excusable and completion is achieved within the revised completion date, which is the extended date. The EOT reduces LD exposure. It does not automatically erases it. The contractor remains still liable for the non-excusable delays from their side. In simple words, EOT shifts the finish line. LDs apply only if you cross the new finish line. Understanding this distinction is what separates average contract administration from professional contract mastery. So thanks for watching this video, and let me know if you want to discuss any further details like this. And this one was commented by one of the subscriber, and that's how this video was developed. So feel free to leave your comments and subscribe to this channel. And if you require any delay analysis supports, please contact us. And if you want to upskill your levels, then please do take our master diploma courses. Thank you.